Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. We're going to start reassembling the Jouef 231C60 locomotive. But before reassembling, the complete reassembly, we're actually going to do a little bit of servicing. Seeing this locomotive has been running, it did plenty of running since the last servicing. And last night, after I dismantled it, I cleaned the axles here. These are conductive, so I gave them. I always put the spot of technical petroleum jelly. I keep it in this small. It's in a tube. I keep it in this jar to lubricate the axles, and not only to lubricate the axles, but also to increase conductivity. And there was some fluff and things, maybe from, off the board running, things pick up dust does go in. So I had finished the cotton buds, but I don't really need cotton buds right now. So a bit of lint in there, let's get rid of that. So I'm going to begin from the axles. The gears are still, technical petroleum jelly is a very good product because it doesn't gunk up. It stays nice, and in fact these gears here are actually there's still a spot of, it's actually partially still visible, they're still glistening up, still some grease on them. You can see the gears there, but I'll just add a very, very small quantity, and it's not gunked up, so you can just add a wee bit, just to increase, the nice smooth running of this locomotive. So I'm going to just park this on here like so, and we'll try and keep this. I'm stirring my technical petroleum jelly a bit. Okay, so I don't need to put too much. Spot there. A spot there. A spot there, because here on the pickup it tends to get black. It tends to get black because there's always maybe some arching and things. Anyway, there's current running through the wheels and through the axles. It always tends to get a bit dirty, so I decided just to clean it, and that was that. Now I'll put a spot even in the gears. So generally I always put a spot in the middle gear here, to not go and put you see, in this gear here. In fact, I'm actually going to use a thinner piece of wire. Use this one. This is a bit too. I don't want to get it on the wheels. I want to just get it on the gear. Spot on there. Spot on there, then I can just turn it. Spreads, you see. Okay, so that's nice. Then I'll put a wee bit even in here on this internal axle. This is important because this is part of the drivetrain. The central axle, which doesn't pick up. Anyway, then it gets pulled in like that. Okay. Let's just turn it round. Let's just pop that in there like that. Okay, here's our gears, and I'm going to put a spot even in there. I didn't really clean these because they're not bad, so I didn't really need to change and putting a spot of grease in here, like there and here. Okay, it's nice and smooth running. Now all the gear train is all nicely lubricated. Very nice, quiet running locomotive. So having done that, I'm going to refit, excuse my arm, I'm going to refit the motor. This way the motor is back in place, and then we'll actually reassemble the complete locomotive, base plate and everything else on a separate on a separate video. So the motor, how does the motor get refitted? So I'm just going to put a spot of grease on the motor drive gear, the motor gear here. There we go. And the motor, you just pop it in there like that. Like this, excuse me. You see that the motor catches, it has two pegs, one there and one on top, and the pegs go into the gearbox plate, because that is the gearbox, this is the gearbox, so it has a gearbox. So you just slide that in there, catch the motor in, the pegs into the gearbox holes. I was in before, I'm not in now. Why are we not in? Are we in? We're not in. We're in. There, see that it's engaging. And now, all we have to do is to, these are the contact springs, these are spring loaded, and I just take it and catch it down, and it's clipped in place. Very, very simple, just put it in, clip it down. And then after, we'll hold it down with the smoke box, the furnace door part, and this will be screwed down. But we'll do that when we actually do the final assembly of. So that's the motor, the drivetrain has been geared, the drivetrain and gearbox have been lubricated, refitted the motor. The next step is to reassemble the base plate, smoke box, door here at the back, and the bodywork. So if you enjoyed that video, I prefer to do this here separate, not to make an excessively long video, so we can split it up. You can see that the gears, and look what a fantastic action. It's such a smooth running motor with a great inertia that you don't need a flywheel. It has a flywheel effect. With the momentum in that. And if you lubricate it, it's absolutely wonderful. So this grease is a wee bit darker here. I didn't really clean that with lighter fluid, it was okay. I think I'm going to add now a wee bit of oil on the, I'll put a spot of a mix of technical petroleum jelly and oil on the actual gear axles. But that way we'll really have a good smooth running and no wear. So I'll do that before, or wait a minute, I could even do it now. So in this jar here I have a mix of technical petroleum jelly and sewing machine oil. And I always apply that with this needle here. This is a chemistry laboratory needle. It belonged to my grandfather. I always say that every time I handle the thing. So going in there, drop. Spot in there. This is nice, and it's not as thin as oil, just regular oil, being a mix of technical petroleum jelly and sewing machine oil. And drop in there. And you can easily see how this was really one of the reasons that they dropped this motor was that it was beginning to be too expensive to. I want to put a spot. There we go. We've lubricated a lot. Let me see where the other gears are. These other gears run through the, you see, these are the gear axles there. I think I might just put normal regular grease in there. Hold on. Let's see what we can do. There. I think I'm going to do the mix, because we've got metal running in plastic. Spot there, a spot here, in there like that, a spot there, and a spot in there. Plastic chassis, and I prefer to use just a needle or a piece of wire to oil my mechanisms. I don't have an oiling pen. And then anyway, it's dragged in by capillary effect. Okay, that's fantastic. So we did that. This is ready. This is ready for reassembly. Okay. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and of course I'm looking forward to reading your comments. It's also very important, very important to subscribe to the channel, because that helps the visibility. We're also heading gradually towards 1,000 users, followers, and soon I already received a message from YouTube saying that the automatic voiceover will be available. I'm not a big fan of the automatic artificial intelligence voiceover system, but it's an extra useful tool. I mean, I always advise, if possible, watch a video in original language, whether it's English or whether I'm doing a video in Italian. Often I make videos where I'm speaking, I do them bilingual, English and Italian, especially when I'm dealing with Italian topics or particular technical things. And I actually prefer the real, I think I've always geared my channel to help people also learn languages, because that's my job, and maybe it's an occasion to practice your English, learn some other words, or maybe even learn Italian. Another language, practicing a language. A language is always a very valuable tool, like a good quality screwdriver. Okay, but we're going to have that. There are going to be other options as well, so subscribe to the channel and let's try and reach 1,000. Okay, that's it for the moment. Cheerio, and see you next time.